Ապրիլ 24-ին ժամը 11-ին սկիզբ առավ Թորոնթոյի մեջ ապրիլեան ոգեկոչումի ձեռնարկը քաղաքապետարանին դիմաց։ Օրուան հանդիսավարներ Յայտագրի յանձնախումբի համաատենապետ եւ Նոր Հայ Հորիզոնի խօսնակ Քաթիա Տէր Յովակիմեանը։
110 years ago, 1.5 million Armenians were targeted for extermination. Today, we remember them, not only with grief, but with purpose. Because the injustice did not end in 1915. It continued with the 2020 war, followed by a brutal 9-month blockade and the heartbreaking exodus of over 100,000 Armenians forced to flee their ancestral homeland in Artsakh. And today, with the unlawful detention of Armenian prisoners by Azerbaijan, violations of international law that demand our attention, we are here to say denial is not just forgetting the past, it enables injustice in the present, and we will not be silent. We gather today to affirm recognition matters, accountability matters. Our voices will not be silenced.
This is an era of fake news. So I'm going to talk facts. Fact. 110 years ago, 1,500,000 Armenians were murdered. Fact. Turkey was the perpetrator. And a fact for the government of Turkey, we will continue to demand justice. You can twist the truth. You can lie about the truth, but you can't kill the truth. Canada and nations around the world recognize the Armenian genocide. And it is time for Turkey to own up to what it did. It is time to not only say, we did it, we're sorry, but reparations. It's time to return land to where it belongs. It's time for Artsakh to be Armenian. It's time for Azerbaijan to withdraw from Artsakh.
I'm very pleased to have my colleague, the Liberal candidate of Don Valley North, Maggie Chi, here with me today. I would like to share the statement of the Liberal Party of Canada leader and Mark Carney on the 110th anniversary commemoration of the Armenian genocide. This April 24th, I joined the tens of thousands of Armenian Canadians and millions more around the world to mark the 110th anniversary commemoration of the Armenian genocide. Today, my thoughts are in solemn remembrance of the 1.5 million Armenian victims who perished in these senseless atrocities, systematically planned and carried out by the Ottoman Empire. Despite the passage of 110 years, this genocide remains actively denied by its perpetrators. Armenian people continue to face persecution and oppression. Most recently, this was tragically exemplified by the forced displacement of over 120,000 indigenous Armenians from Nagorno-Karabakh in September 2023, following months of an unlawful blockade, which deprived them of their most basic human rights.
Now I would like to read the statement from the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, the Honourable Pierre Poilievre. Today we pause to commemorate the 110th anniversary of the Medzeren, the Armenian genocide. With deep sadness, we remember the 1.5 million innocent Armenians who were systematically forced from their homes and marched to their deaths by Ottoman authorities in 1915. Though the world failed to heed the warnings at the time, we now know that the Ottoman Empire launched a deliberate campaign aimed at ethnically cleansing and exterminating the Armenian people. Yet shamefully, more than a century later, we have failed to learn from the painful lessons of the Armenian genocide. Today, the Armenian people continue to suffer. Over the last several years, more than 100,000 Armenians, including women, children, and the elderly, have been targeted and displaced from Nagorno-Karabakh. Armenians have a right to exist and live in security in their ancestral homeland. On this anniversary, we mourn the innocent lives who were unjustly murdered in the 20th century and in the present day, and call for long overdue justice for the Armenian people. It is incumbent on all freedom-loving nations to stand with them and ensure that these crimes are never again repeated.
I have mixed emotions because I come from a family, like most of you, who survived genocide. I'm a third generation of both sides of my family who were survivors of the genocide. And it's not only one genocide, the Armenian genocide, but also it is the Greek genocide, because I have also Greek grandmother who survived the Greek and Pontian genocide in Trabzon'de. I am here proud as an Ontarian because, to be honest with you, we are living in the best province, in the best city in the world. This is an issue that it transcends boundaries, it transcends ethnicity, nationality. As one of the genocide scholars said, the last act of any genocide is the denial aspect of that genocide. And today, we, third generation, fourth generation of survivors of the genocide, we are still dealing with the trauma of the genocide. Not because we experienced it, but because it has been denied. And that's what we need to fight. We are glad that Canada is one of the leading countries when it comes to human rights and defending the right of the underprivileged, discriminated against. This is the true history of Canada. And as a parliamentarian, I am proud to be part of this nation, this province, this city. And this is what we need to remind the world. That genocide denied, it is a genocide repeated. And that's why we are glad that we have among us some other survivors and victims of other genocides here with us to commemorate with us. We need to create alliances around the world with all nations of genocides, from the Jewish Holocaust to the Rwandan genocide, to the Armenian genocide, and so many other genocides. So that's why I am grateful that I am here today, and our government will always stand up with you. So thank you very much. Շնորհակալություն ձեր բոլորին, բարձկերնիտ կդար երիտասարդներ։
The Armenian youth of Toronto taught me about their history. They taught me the stories of their cultures and also the traumas of the past. So to the young people today carrying those flags, what you're doing here today is not just protesting, not just reminding people of what happened, but what you're doing here today is sharing your story. You're enriching the city of Toronto and our history and our diversity. And it's just as MPP Babikian said, today as you carry those flags down the streets, you will be adding supporters to your cause, to our cause. 110 years later, my friends, we're still fighting denial. We're still fighting for justice. We're still fighting revisionist history that wants to say what happened to you, what happened to your loved ones, what happened to your grandparents and your great-grandparents never happened. And at the same time today, my friends, today, at this very minute, Armenia is still under attack. The same storyline continues as Artsakh is depopulated of its Armenian population by Azerbaijan and by its dictator, Aliyev. We, the friends and allies of the Armenian people worldwide, will never relent. We will never relent in our demands for justice and for recognition of the 1.5 million holy martyrs and for the people of Artsakh. Thank you very much.
We teach the truth in schools in our community. We're very proud of that. And so what we wait for is not just Turkey, but every nation outstanding, including the one south of the border, to continue to build that pressure so that there is no way left to continue to deny. Thank you so much for doing this today in Nathan Phillips Square. Thank you.
Յայտագրի պաշտօնական ավարտեն ետք սկիզբ առաւ քայլարշաւը թեպի թրքական հիւպատոսարան, ուր մեծ թիւով հայորդիներ իրենց մասնակցութիւնը բերին եւ անգամը եւս ցույց տվին, թե հայ համայնքը վճռագամ է բանջարության երթը շարունակելու իր հանձնառության մեջ եւ դերը իր իրավունքներուն, ու պայքարը պիտի շարունակվի մինչեւ արդարության ճանաչումը։
Turkey is in denial. Turkey end the denial. Turkey stop the denial.
Turkey stop the denial.
Boycott, BJP.
Boycott, BJP.
Boycott, BJP.
Boycott, BJP.
Turkey run, Turkey hide, Turkey's guilty of genocide.
Turkey run, Turkey hide, Turkey's guilty of genocide.
We demand our land.
Մահը, դարաբանքը, ցեղասպանությունն ու գոդարածը չնվազեցուց հայ ժողովրդի գամքը, չհերացուց անոր հայրենասիրության հոգիեն, այլ դարիներու ընթացքին դարաբանքի եւ վշտի զգացումը վերածվեցավ բանջարդիրության ու բայկարի, ու բայկար երկեցի, ցեզի ընձա հայ մարդիկներ, այսօր 110 տարիներ անցած են այդ սրտաջմլիկ իրողութենեն, 110 վշտի ու հուսալքումի դարիներ, որոնք փոխարինված են փողոքի եւ բանջարդիրության դարիներու, պատմությունը կգրկնվի, թադը մեկ եւ թշնամին մեկ, սակայն թշնամին պիտի շարունակի իրագործել իր արյունարդու ծրագիրները, դժբախտաբար ներկայիս Հայաստանի կառավարության հետ համագործակցելով, սակայն հայ ժողովուրդը պիտի չհանձնվի, հայ ժողովուրդը պիտի շարունակի պահանջել մինչև արդար հատուցումը իր թադին։
We, the Armenian youth of Toronto, are the direct descendants of the survivors of the Armenian genocide. We carry the weight of their grief, the strength of their spirit, and the stories they safeguarded so the world would never forget. We carry their memories as both burden and banner. And in their honor, we demand justice. We call upon the government of Turkey to, 1, officially recognize the Armenian genocide, as acknowledged by over 24 parliaments around the world, including global powers such as the United States, Canada, and Russia. 2, apologize for the crimes committed by the Ottoman Empire against the Armenian people. 3, take responsibility as the successor states to the Ottoman regime. 4, provide reparations for the loss of life, property, cultural heritage, and generational trauma inflicted on over 2 million indigenous Armenians. Justice delayed is not justice denied, but justice demanded. Sincerely, the Armenian youth of Toronto.
Մեր ողոքի արտահայտությունները արտահայտեցինք մարդոց, հիմա բահը հասավ, որ մեր հավատքի արտահայտությունները ուղենք երկինք, մեր աղոթքները միացնենք, որպեսզի ջեղքեն երկինքը եւ Աստուծո հետ խոսենք, որովհետեւ Աստված մեր հավատքը կսորվեցնե, անպատասխան չի ցկեր բոլոր անոնց, որոնք հավատքով կդիմեն իրեն։